Yeah.
Hey guys, how y'all doing tonight? How many of you are here for the first time just kind of found out about Lee Mook? Kind of first time, got a lot of folks, everybody drugged here about every family member tonight. Church, right? Right? Listen, they did because I always tell people, you drag your family to hear about it, but you're never going to drag them into it, you know? Because when you understand what you got with Lee Mook, you want the people you love and care about. Well, let me put it this way. I didn't want anybody that I loved and cared about coming back saying, why didn't you share this with me? You know, the reality is when you really understand what Lee Mook's about, you want to hold your family member's head back to pour it in, don't you? You know? Sometimes they're bigger than you, it doesn't work that way, right? You know? But, you know, Lee Mook's changing people's lives. Physically and financially. You know, I don't know how you believe, and I don't ask you to believe as I do, but I believe the good Lord put you and I on this earth. And I believe we put on this earth our bodies need to work correctly. It just doesn't make sense to me in any way. God already put us here and I put on this earth our bodies need to work right. The challenge today is that we're just not getting the right stuff for them to work right. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you put water down gasoline in the engine, it's going to run very good. It's just not going to run well. You know, think of your body just as a machine for just a minute. And what really got my attention was that if you ate a year from Iowa 50 years ago, you got to eat 16 days to get the same nutrition. Is it any wonder that pharmaceutical drug spending is increasing faster among our children than in our society? So wouldn't you agree we're trying to do better? You didn't see organic milk at Walmart 5 years ago, now you see it. So we're trying to eat better, we're trying to do better, but then we realize that nutrition just isn't there anymore, so we got to bridge the gap. And that's what 2 out of 3 people are doing. That's what we've been swallowing handfuls of vitamins every day. We're never really feeling a difference, but we got to do something, right? That's kind of where we were physically when we found out about leaving. We were looking, you know, I just wanted something simple that worked. I don't know about you, but I was tired of doing all the different things every day, never really feeling a difference. And I thought, my buddy said, look, perfect food. Everything your body needs, 70 vitamins, minerals, nutrients, everything your body needs in one food. I said, I'm in. Man, I just want something simple. He said, that's only part of the story. Not only is it a perfect food, but it's got this super nutrient called poison in it. So I've never heard of that. And he said, I can promise you one thing, if you learn a little bit about it, you want to make sure everybody you love and care about has it in their body the rest of their life. And he was absolutely right. Friends, whoever invited you tonight invited you because they really believe we can make a significant difference in your quality of life for someone that you know. Number one, physically. I tell folks the worst thing that can happen to you is you're going to get healthy. That's the worst possible thing that can happen to you. We would bring Lee with the rest of our life if there was no financial side to this. You know, my grandmother was off blood thinner in 4 weeks. Her own health nurse said the blood doesn't lie. I watched the blood work 4 weeks, I'm drinking this stuff. My mom's sugar level out to 6 weeks. My dad, when we first started Lee Mook, he said, look, I ain't gonna drink this stuff. I said, just sit back and watch. You don't try to talk anybody into it. 6 weeks in, when my mom went to the cabinet one night and saw the Tylenol, said, I don't remember the last time I had a headache. She had allergy headache 2 or 3 times a week. Her blood sugar leveled out, headaches were gone, my grandma was off blood thinner, and all my dad could take. Next morning at 5:30, my mom walked in the kitchen. There was my dad with a bottle of liquid turned up drinking. You know, nobody had to convince him. He convinced himself. We got a brother-in-law that's an interventional cardiologist. He's not going to listen to me. I'm a construction guy. You know, all we've done is raise cows and build homes. So when his daughter developed precancerous cells, 3 years into us drinking Lee Mook, he called us and said, "Can you my Lee Mook?" See, guys, timing changes for everybody. You don't ever drag you to push people, but people's lives change every 90 days or so, physically and financially, things go on in their life. So when that happened, he called us and told me about Lee Mook. I said, "Why now?" He said, "This is going on with my daughter. Medically, my hands are tied. You just hope we hope for the best." I said, "Look, go to the National Library of Medicine, look at the research. There's 1,000 studies, knock yourself out." 3 days later, he called me back. He said, "I'm convinced." I said, "Why?" I said, "It's independent research. Got one group of doctors, somebody hired him overseas. They started drinking Lee Mook. He was off Celebrex for arthritis and crevices for reflux in 6 weeks. And in 4 months, when his daughter was retested, she tested clear precancerous cells. Now listen, Lee Mook is not a miracle cure. It is not a miracle drug. We don't make any medical or health claims whatsoever. The testimonies you hear here tonight and make hear from those are simply because their body is getting the right stuff. God didn't make any junk. He designed our body to work correctly, and it's amazing what our body can do when it gets the right thing. Sometimes, Pastor, I think it's sad that we're so shocked when our body starts working the way God made it to work, you know? Because we're so used to being broke down, we can't imagine that it's doing better, right? You You know, so I want you to think about this. What if your family could do better and better and better year by year by year instead of going worse and worse and worse health-wise, you know? What if your family could do better and better and better financially instead of struggling to get by or barely keeping their head above water? I was in a traditional business, construction industry. We would have to work harder every year just to maintain our standard of living. Don't you find most people are having that boat today? We're working harder just to maintain our standard of living, not do better. You know, so I always tell people, money's not important unless you don't have it. Then it becomes very important. Would you agree? A psychologist tells us that 80% of arguments in households today are directly attributed to one thing, money. And I can promise you, most folks are not arguing because they got too much. You know what I'm saying? So I encourage you guys to look at Limu as just a vehicle. It's just a better vehicle to take you where you want to go. Physically, you're going to be in the best condition you've been in your life. If you just drink it, you're going to win. But I encourage you to do more than just drink it. Don't we talk about how we feel every day? When you hear us talk about the Limu experience, that's all we're talking about. Kind of the physical and the financial side. We talk about our health. We talk about our finances every day. Every day people at work are talking about how they might be laid off or downsized. Every day we say, how's your mom doing, girl? Our blood pressure's acting, fits going on. Don't we talk about how we feel and how we're doing financially all the time anyway? Usually in a negative way, right? So when people are talking from a negative perspective about this is going on, that's going on, say, look, I found something. I found something. Might be just what you're looking for. We don't have time to talk now. Let's get together later. I want to share something with you. And after we take a short break in just a minute to do samples for all you guests, I want to share with you how easy it is, how simple it is, if you choose to participate, to be profitable and debt-free, starting your own business in less than a week, to be driving a BMW of your choice in less than 9 days, and how in the next 12 to 18 months you literally can have your family on the road to financial independence and a six-figure income. Would that interest anybody? And I don't know. You got to decide for yourself, right? I knew it didn't need, because my thought was, what else am I doing that gives me a legitimate opportunity to make those things happen? You know what I'm saying? I encourage you to look back 2 years. And listen, you don't have to be honest with anybody but yourself. We got to be honest with yourself, right? Look back 2 years. How much better off are you and your family physically with your health than you were 2 years ago? If you're not drinking Limu. If you're drinking Limu, you know the answer, right? But if you're not, and you're new here tonight, where's your health compared to friends and family to 2 years ago to today? I encourage you to look at your bank account. How much better is your bank account today than it was 2 years ago? See, Einstein's definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And if you keep doing what we're doing and we don't change anything, I can tell you pretty much exactly where you're going to be 2 years from now, because looking back over the last 2 years to see where we've come. You want to look out 5 years, look back 5 years. Guys, the reality is if we want to be somewhere different, we got to do something different. It's just that simple. If you were to tell me a couple of years ago that I wouldn't be building houses, I'd be talking about this Limu stuff. I said, man, you're out of your mind. You know, I don't know how to run houses, build houses, and hunt fish. That's what I do. But when something changes your family's quality of life, you're going to talk about it anyway. You don't have to be a Limu expert. You just invite people to hear the story. Everybody's looking. Not everybody's willing to admit they're looking, but trust me, everybody's looking. Everybody wants to do better with their health. Wouldn't you agree? Everybody wants a bigger bank account. Don't we want to be in a position where if our church or our family or our community needs something, we can write a check? That's where Rashette and I, my wife, wanted to be. We wanted to be in that position that if my grandmother needed something, we could help her. You know, the last 8 years of her life, she drank Limu. I tell people, her prayer was always to live at home until God got ready to live in her home, until God got ready to take her to his home. That was her prayer. Independent, grew up in a depression. She could cook for 40 people in an hour. You know, she was the most amazing person I've ever seen in my life. Positive, outgoing. And that was her prayer. And there's no question in my mind that the last 8 years of her, when she started drinking Limu, her kidney function was going down dramatically at 84. She started drinking Limu, her kidney function improved, got off blood thinners. It was amazing to watch her come off medication. She lived at home physically, and there's no question in my mind, the last 8 years of her life because of Limu. Lived a quality of life. I actually got to go to the beach for the first time in her life the last 5 years of her life. She made an annual trip to the beach. She'd never been in her life. In her late 80s and early 90s. Physically because of Limu. She lives at home financially because we were in a position that we could put a check in her account every month that covered everything she wanted to do. You know, her Social Security and those things that the government assistant wouldn't pay her lightly, much less all the other stuff. And you know, don't we want our parents and grandparents to be in a position where they don't have to worry about money down the road? You know, my grandmother loved to give. She gave her whole life. And I'm sharing this with you because, not because I'm bragging about us, but what the vehicle has allowed us to do. Y'all follow me? My grandmother, we made sure she had enough money in her account she could give anything she wanted to do. She could tithe, she could give all the things she wanted to do, because I think in your 90s you ought to do what you want to do. You know? She was telling me one day that a lady in the church I grew up with was going on a mission trip. My grandmother was 92 at this time. She asked the church to help out with some of the things. She had a list of things that she wanted the church to help out with. So my grandmother got the list, got my mom to drive her to town, and my grandmother bought every one of them for her. Because she could. And guys, don't just think about yourself. Think about your family. Think about the people you love and care about. If you don't do it for yourself, do it for them. I think it was Rick DeVos that said, often all that stands between a man and what he truly wants from life is the will to try and the faith to believe it's possible. You got to have the will to try. I believe you got the will to try because you can try. You got to have the faith to believe it's possible. Guys, everything in life that is good that happens to you starts with a step of faith. You might not know all the ins and outs about Lindy right now. You might be brand new tonight. You might think, well, it sounds good, but I don't know all the information. We didn't need. We decided to take a step of faith. We were the first people in the United States to start bringing Lindy. I didn't know anybody from Congo. Okay? Never been there. Didn't know where it was. But I knew that it couldn't hurt my family. It was food. And I said, it can't hurt, it might help. We got nothing to lose. Today, you don't have to step out on that much faith. See, we were seeing if it would work physically and financially 9 years ago. We're not here to find out if it works physically and financially. There are thousands upon thousands of personal testimonies of Lehman doing for people health-wise. This room is full of people that are doing well financially because of Lehman. The train has already put them out of the station. We're just here to see what's going on. So listen, I encourage you, take that step of faith. You got nothing to lose. There's no time like the present. If not now, when? Not leaving what? You know, that was my question. What else is giving you that kind of opportunity? We're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to do some samples back in the back. We got an ice chest over here. We're going to do some samples back there by the back door for all those of you that are guests. We're going to try Limu Original. It's 83% pure Limu concentrate with low organic mango, papaya, apple, and pear. You're going to love the way it tastes. You just drink 4 ounces a day. You do together. We're also going to sample Blue Frog Energy. We said Limu had a baby. We named it Blue Frog. Blue Frog is healthy energy. You're going to love the way it tastes, and you'll feel good all day. You're not hyped up and get her.
No one don't like Blue Frog.
My sister-in-law Regal back in the back there. Our niece Scarlett is in the back, and she drank Blue Frog throughout her pregnancy. Her doctor said there's more prenatal than a Blue Frog than in your prenatal life. Try that for the Red Bull tomorrow. We say blue is the new red, and that's no bull.
That's what's up.
So imagine just that alone. Overall health, Blue Frog is healthy energy. Lean is our perfect meal replacement. Whoever's in the back can share more with you about that. But we're going to take 5 minutes, do some samples, get an order form, get started, come back, and I'm going to share with you real quick how to take those 3 steps. How to get profitable immediately, how to get the car in less than 90 days, and how to put your own family on the road to a 6-figure income. God bless you. Thank you for being here.